This is my ranking of cozy games like Spiritfarer that I've played, based purely on my personal experience. Each one is placed from masterpiece down to trash, depending on how relaxing and engaging the experience feels. Let's get straight into the list. Neva had me playing as Alba, a young woman traveling through a fantasy world where darkness spreads across forests, valleys, and ruins. Alongside a magical wolf named Neva, I explored hand-drawn environments, cross-platforming challenges, and used jumps, double jumps, and air dashes to reach new areas. Combat appeared regularly, with me attacking hostile creatures using sword strikes, dodge rolls, and careful timing to avoid damage. Boss fights demanded more attention, especially with limited health and aggressive enemies. As the story moved through changing seasons, my wolf companion grew from a vulnerable pup into a capable partner who helped during exploration and battles. The story used little dialogue, but the bond between Alba and her companion remained clear throughout. The painted visuals and sweeping music made every location memorable and strengthened emotional moments. Neva belongs to the excellent tier. Far Lone Sails cast me as a lone traveler crossing the remains of a dried-up seabed aboard a large machine powered by wind, fuel, and constant maintenance. I moved steadily through abandoned landscapes, gathering anything burnable to keep the engine running while managing steam pressure, repairing damaged systems, and dealing with occasional fires. Exploration was simple but engaging, with ruined structures, strange landmarks, and environmental obstacles breaking up the journey. Some routes required me to leave the vehicle, solve light puzzles, activate machinery, or clear blocked passages before continuing forward. As I upgraded the vessel with new equipment, more responsibilities were added, making each section feel a little different. The story unfolded without dialogue, relying on scenery and world design to hint at what happened to civilization. It comfortably lands in my great tier. Oxenfree followed Alex and a group of friends during a trip to an abandoned military island where a strange radio signal opened a supernatural rift. I spent most of the game exploring the island, choosing dialogue responses during conversations and using a portable radio to discover hidden frequencies that revealed secrets and triggered unusual events. The story unfolded through constant interactions with other characters, and my choices influenced relationships, conversations, and certain outcomes. Rather than relying on combat or complex puzzles, the experience leaned heavily on narrative, atmosphere, and decision-making. Time loops, ghostly encounters, and mysterious transmissions created tension while I moved between different locations searching for answers. The island slowly revealed pieces of its history, encouraging me to pay attention to notes, clues, and conversations. This secures its spot in my great tier. Naiad let me drift down a peaceful river as a small water spirit, exploring forests, lakes, caves, and other natural environments filled with animals and hidden paths. I spent most of my time swimming, diving underwater, and singing to interact with the world around me. Different creatures responded to my songs, allowing me to guide frogs, reunite ducklings with their families, help birds, and uncover secret locations scattered throughout each area. Exploration was the heart of the experience, with new regions introducing fresh wildlife, environmental interactions, and small objectives that encouraged me to look around every corner. The story unfolded quietly through the changing world, occasional human activity, and short poetic moments rather than lengthy dialogue. Its hand-painted art style and calm atmosphere made every stretch of river memorable. It rises all the way into my masterpiece tier. Jusant placed me on the side of a massive tower, stretching high above the remains of a world where the seas had vanished long ago. My goal was simple: keep climbing higher while carefully managing stamina, securing ropes, and finding safe handholds across cliffs, walls, and other challenging surfaces. The climbing system required me to control each hand separately, making every ascent feel deliberate and rewarding. As I moved through different regions, new mechanics such as zip lines and unique environmental features changed how I approached obstacles. Hidden letters, murals, and abandoned settlements revealed pieces of the world's history and explained how people adapted after the water disappeared. Rather than relying on combat, the experience stayed focused on exploration, traversal, and environmental storytelling. Each new section offered fresh sights and climbing challenges. It finds its way into my great tier. Mutazione followed Kai as she traveled to a remote island to visit her estranged grandfather and became involved in the lives of a small community shaped by a strange meteor event. Most of my time was spent exploring the island, talking with residents, learning about their relationships, and uncovering personal stories that slowly connected together. Conversations played a major role, with different dialogue events revealing the history, struggles, and friendships of the people living there. Between story moments, I also took part in gardening activities that allowed me to grow plants and create peaceful musical gardens. The island itself was filled with interesting locations, wildlife information, and optional interactions that encouraged exploration at my own pace. Rather than relying on action or combat, the experience stayed focused on characters and community. It belongs in my excellent tier. Botany Manor had me working through a collection of unusual plant-growing mysteries inside a large countryside estate owned by retired botanist Arabella Green. Each chapter revolved around discovering how a different fictional plant could be grown, with me searching the manor and its surrounding grounds for clues hidden in books, letters, diagrams, and scientific notes. The puzzle solving came from studying these details and figuring out the exact conditions needed for each seed to bloom. Some plants reacted to temperature, while others required more unusual methods, inspired by science and inventions from the era. As I solved each mystery, new areas of the estate became accessible, bringing fresh clues and increasingly creative challenges. The combination of exploration, observation, and plant-growing puzzles kept the experience engaging throughout. It settles into my great tier. Subnautica stranded me on an alien ocean planet after a spacecraft disaster, leaving me with only a small escape pod and a fabrication machine to stay alive. Survival depended on gathering resources, crafting equipment, managing food and water, and diving deeper into the ocean to discover new materials and technologies. As I explored coral reefs, underwater caves, and massive biomes filled with strange creatures, I gradually unlocked submarines, seafaring vehicles, and customizable underwater bases that made exploration safer and more rewarding. The deeper I traveled, the more secrets I uncovered about the planet, its wildlife, and the mysterious events surrounding the crash. Balancing exploration with survival created a constant sense of progression, while the contrast between peaceful waters and dangerous predators kept every expedition exciting. It reaches the heights of my masterpiece tier. Wandersong followed a cheerful bard on a journey across a colorful fantasy world where music was the solution to nearly every challenge. Instead of fighting enemies with weapons, I used singing to interact with characters, solve puzzles, overcome obstacles, and influence events around me. Each new region introduced different stories, themes, and characters, ranging from ghosts and pirates to conflicts between entire communities. The singing mechanics worked alongside light platforming, exploration, and simple role-playing elements, creating a style of gameplay that felt different from most adventure games. As I traveled from one area to another, the story gradually explored larger ideas about heroism, friendship, and helping others, while keeping a humorous and self-aware tone. The soundtrack also played a major role, constantly changing to match the journey. This comfortably belongs in my excellent tier. GRIS is all about the story of a young woman moving through a world drained of color while dealing with themes of loss and recovery. I guided her across beautifully designed environments, solving light puzzles, collecting glowing stars, and unlocking new abilities that opened additional paths forward. Each area introduced a different gameplay twist, from strong winds and platforming challenges to powers that changed how I interacted with the environment. Progression remained simple and easy to understand, allowing the visuals, music, and atmosphere to take center stage throughout the adventure. Rather than relying on dialogue, the story was communicated through animations, environmental details, and the gradual return of color to the world. Exploration rewarded curiosity with optional collectibles and hidden areas, while larger creature encounters added variety without turning into traditional combat. GRIS comfortably secures an excellent tier spot. Far-changing tides sent me across vast oceans aboard a large ship that gradually became more complex as I unlocked new tools and upgrades. Much of the adventure revolved around keeping the vessel moving by raising sails, managing fuel, operating onboard machinery, and adapting to changing conditions out at sea. Exploration often led me into the water, where I searched for resources, activated switches, cleared obstacles, and discovered ways to open new routes forward. The puzzles remained straightforward but satisfying, usually asking me to understand how the ship's different systems work together rather than solve anything overly complicated. New mechanics were introduced steadily, including equipment that expanded how I navigated both above and below the surface. Combined with the striking scenery and environmental storytelling, every stretch of the voyage felt memorable. It earns a place in my great tier. Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, followed Grace, a young woman whose life changed completely after she inherited the powers of a Greek muse and became the prime suspect in a murder mystery involving modern-day gods. Most of my time was spent talking with characters, making dialogue choices, investigating clues, and deciding how Grace responded to difficult situations. These choices influenced relationships, shaped parts of the story, and even changed the lyrics, tone, and direction of musical performances. The game blended visual novel storytelling with role-playing elements, allowing me to guide Grace's personality while uncovering secrets surrounding the Greek pantheon. Rather than relying on combat or traditional exploration, the experience stayed focused on conversations, branching narratives, and fully voiced musical numbers. Its unique combination of mythology, storytelling, and music earns Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, a place in my good tier. Thirsty Suitors explored the messy return of Jala to her hometown after years away, forcing her to reconnect with family members, old friends, and several unhappy former partners. Much of the story unfolded through conversations and character interactions, while major confrontations played out through turn-based battles where I used taunts, special abilities, and timed button inputs to gain advantages. Every opponent had different emotional weaknesses, encouraging me to mix attacks and reactions during fights. Outside of combat, I spent time skateboarding around town, completing challenges, exploring locations, and uncovering more about the unusual situations developing around Jala. Cooking also became an important activity, with quick-time events helping me prepare meals tied to family relationships and story progression. The combination of role-playing, skating, cooking, and relationship drama makes Thirsty Suitors a good tier game. That's my cozy game ranking. Let me know which game deserves a higher spot. See you in the next video.